What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be spectating random players in Fortnite Zero Build, going over what I think they do well, what they could do differently, and just the state of the game right now. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you like to see more, comment down below what you think of Fortnite's new Megazord update, and if you guys would like to use my code in the shop when getting anything, it is Evolve Jake, just like my channel name is, and it is underneath the webcam at all times. For this weekend, supporter creator payouts are doubled, so if you guys do want to get anything using my code, I would much appreciate it. I'm going to be going to the Hive this game. Hopefully we end up spectating somebody that's like decently active throughout the match. With this week's update, Fortnite broke like kind of the queen icons on the map. They no longer show, but the Hive boss doesn't have any other location to be at, so she will always be here as of right now. So this is just like the most guaranteed spot, I feel like, to actually spectate somebody that's going to be proactive throughout the course of the match. I never really want to make one of these videos just spectating somebody like on the edge of the map looting. And while like if you want to win, it maybe makes sense to like land on some of those edge locations and play a bit safer, it doesn't make for a very interesting video. It seems like this player is mostly uncontested though. You can never really be too certain. Okay, actually there's somebody here. He likely had visual audio on them. They were an AI. But either way, it doesn't seem like this area is that populated. So if I was this player, I would want to get healed up and I would want to start like clearing out the nests to spawn the boss as soon as possible. Because while he might not really be contested right now, there's pretty much guaranteed going to be some players coming at some point during the match to try to like clean up this POI. And that is always kind of the balance you have to deal with if you are landing at a boss POI, is like clearing it fast enough to hopefully get that done before third parties show up, but not being so reckless that you just like throw your own game. The bug blaster is obviously incredible for eliminating the queen. His B pod is over there. I don't really care too much about going for the B pod. With the removal of crash pads, the boon is nice, but the way the boons work from the pods is that once you get a pod boon, you get that rank plus all the previous ranks. So if I get my A boon, I also get the effect that the B boon would have given me. And so I'm rarely that concerned about like going out of my way to get the B pods. Now there is somebody here that we know about. They're shooting at a bug. He's going to spawn the queen here. And so that other player is going to know for 100% certainty that there's another player here as well. So I don't think he needed to do that. It maybe would have been a bit better for him to bait it. Enemy just completely repositions with a shockwave hammer. And the player we're spectating doesn't have any mobility. So he is very just kind of at the mercy of how the other person wants to play. Gets good opening tags, but like he can't do anything with this because he has no mobility. He gets fried a little bit, but it's just overshield. It's no big deal. The more he can pressure this, the better, because this player has used a lot of their hammer uses. It's mostly on cooldown, but the longer it goes, they're going to get more hammer uses back. Seems like they have shockwaves as well. They may be fighting somebody else. It's hard to tell. I hear shots, but it's hard to tell what's going on. Oh, that's unfortunate. I was going to say it's hard to tell what's going on with so much bug audio and everything, but now one player hopped on him. We just saw that Green Ranger across the way from him. This is just a 50-50 revolver fight that the Demigorgon ends up winning, but there is that green Power Ranger that was above them that I assume is going to take the place in this building like directly above them, but I guess not. Kind of confused. Maybe they hired the Green Ranger actually. He's going to get up on top of here and likely clear out the queen using the Power Ranger's gun. Okay, no, there is a Green Ranger enemy. The player we're spectating now, the Demigorgon, doesn't have any mobility. They do have Fizz though, so they can heal up and then also easily jump down here without having to worry about fall damage. You can like drop into the water to avoid fall, but you're a little bit more limited on where you can go if you choose to do that. This kill would be huge. Unfortunately, it seems like the Green Ranger is going to get away, but that would have been a very big kill to get, because then he would have a shockwave hammer and he would have this area cleared out. That little brief pause where he just looked at the hired NPC allows that guy to get away, and now Stevie cleans him up. I think this is the initial player we saw like shockwaving and hammering around. I think if the first player we were spectating waited a little bit to open that pod and let this person spawn the boss, they might have gotten more favorable timing on them. That fight was always going to be hard because this guy has mobility and the other one didn't. And so this person just has so many more options of how the fight can play out. But I do think just waiting a little bit and letting this person kind of have like a false sense of security is the best bet of the player that we were initially spectating. I assume this player is going to want to eliminate the queen. because they're also using a revolver. The bug blasts are right in front of them that they can use to easily eliminate the queen. Now the Megazord is going to be spawning, but to me, this Megazord isn't a huge priority. Like, obviously, if you want to play as it, you got to go over there, and it typically kind of spawns in the middle map area. It seems like most of the spawns of it are in this region here. So being like somewhat near the middle of the map by the time second zone is happening is probably your best bet to try to get it quickly. And if you don't want to play as the Megazord, or you're not able to, if you do enough damage to it, you get a boon that makes you regenerate medium, light, and shotgun shell ammo. Like, you just regenerate it over time. And that boon is fine, but it's not like that spectacular, I don't think. I feel like the main benefit of it is just that you don't have to worry as much about your ammo count when dealing with the Megazord. But once you're this late into the game, a lot of players have a decent amount of ammo. You see the guy we're on board here with has 200. So that's already a good amount of ammo, right? And each kill he gets is probably going to be a decent refresh. So I still, like, even with the ammo nerfs, I don't think ammo is a big concern. So I don't think that boon is that great. It just kind of helps you dealing with the Megazord. The main thing that you benefit from dealing damage to him is the player that does the most damage gets the medallion. And what the medallion does is it periodically scans the area and marks enemy players. It's very similar to the Emma Frost scan medallion if you use that in Chapter 5. Or if you've ever had a scout NPC hired, it's basically that, but in medallion form. And I've seen players call this useless and that they'd rather just carry the flare gun. I kind of disagree, because this boon, the medallion doesn't take an inventory slot. Sure, it has the downside of putting you on the map, but the size of the circle is rather large. And with how much mobility there is this season, I don't think putting yourself on the map is that big of a deal. So personally, I like trying to get the medallion. Whether or not I get it from the boss or the player that does the damage isn't the biggest deal to me. And that's one of the things I like about this medallion, is it's good, but it's not like incredibly overpowered to the point where like it's annoying to fight the person who has it. The movement medallions we had at the start of this season, if you had to go up against a player who had the double jump or the slide medallion, it was just like a rough, annoying fight. But the scan medallion, if I have to fight somebody who has it, sure, that's an advantage they have, but it's not like that. It doesn't change the fight that much. And the cooldown time on it is pretty significant to the point where you can fight that person and have it not even play a role at all. So I think the scan medallion is good. I like carrying it. If you don't like carrying it, I think that's fine too. It's not so overpowered that it's like a easy choice to make. And I kind of think that's like the power level that I would want medallions to be at. With a lot of the more busted medallions, I feel like a lot of people didn't even care about the downside of putting you on the map. You would never think about that because the effect was so beneficial. So this is a chaotic area. The Megazord is still alive. We know that there's somebody in the bush near him. He's going for his S-drop here, which is something that I don't necessarily agree with. It might not cost him, but the enemy players in this area and playing these fights, I think, is significantly more important than his S-tier boon. So he maybe gets away from it. It didn't take that much damage. Somebody on him with a roly-poly. But just putting yourself in that low ground and like putting yourself at risk of getting engaged on by the other players or hopped on somebody like that roly-poly, this would be a good fight to third party. He should be shockwaving at this, trying to third party, and the bush went down. But putting yourself at that downside just to get the S-tier boon, I don't think is that big of a deal. Like, I would play more for, like, the fights, and then the boon can happen later on. But it ends up working out for him. That could have gone south, though. So if the player in the bush had beamed him good and did a lot of damage, and then that roly-poly was jumping on him, you can kind of see how that would have, like, really not gone his way, just because he was greedy for that boon. The flip side happens. For some reason, the roly-poly hops on the bush person, and then that guy, like, both of them get griefed. But I think whoever the roly-poly hopped on there, their game was getting trolled. Your shots over here. He's going to go try to chalk on it. This should be a free kill. Yeah, even if they get away with the hammer there, like, he has 11 shockwaves in his inventory, so he's going to be able to easily, like, out-chase that person. The shockwaves are better for, like, chasing than the hammer is. Repositions here. He has right shoulder peek, but he could pop his slurp in this time, and I think that'd be beneficial. I don't know if he's being greedy for heals or what, because he doesn't need the full benefit of the slurp, but it does have the added benefit of taking you over time. So it seems like he's going to go for this big pot and then try to save his slurp, but this is, again, a risk that could cost him. And in a game like Fortnite or any Battle Royale, the more risks you take, the more likely one of them comes back to cost you. A lot of things in this game are kind of dependent on how other people play. So him being greedy with his slurp there doesn't cost him in this instance because the enemy didn't chase hard enough. But if the enemy chased harder and was more active on chasing that, the fact that he was like hesitating healing because he wanted to save the slurp, I think is something that would have lost him the fight. Or at least like made the fight harder than it needed to be. If he had drank the slurp, he gets to full health before the enemy gets to him, and he has it ticking during the fight, so he's just regenerating health and makes that fight even like easier for himself. There's an enemy under him in the bunker here. There's also somebody shockwaving up. You don't want to fight this bunker right now because that shockwave player, the shockwave hammer player, is going to be easy third party. Fighting in the bunker is rough as is, and it's like rarely a clean fight. So forcing that's not great, and forcing that when you know there's third parties in the area is also not great. There's like 5 people here. Somebody in the bunker, the shockwave hammer that just pulled up, the roly-poly player, and then the other player that had ran away previously. It's just chaos. Fighting in the bunker right now. I don't know what he's doing. Why is he just running at this person with the shockwaves out? I have to assume he was not paying attention there. Like, I'm someone who streams, and I get that sometimes you're reading chat, and I kind of think that maybe that's what happened if this person was streaming. I don't know. But that was strange. That could have been a free kill, and then he could have third-partied the people in the bunker, I think. Because they had just fought in the bunker. So if I was in that situation, I would want to kill the person up top as fast as possible, and then take advantage of the fact that those other players had just fought in the bunker. Don't give them much time to, like, recoup, regain, heal, any of that. But since that didn't happen, now he still kind of has to worry about this direction. I don't really know what was going on with the airstrike there. Drink the slurp right away, please. Okay. He's going to try to use mobility first and then heal. But I hope that he's not going to be greedy with his heals here. The shockwaves are messy. Just drink the slurp, bro. He keeps, like, not drinking the slurp. You can't drink the slurp in air. That's one of the downsides of the legendary slurp juice. Don't drink 2. Okay, I was almost like tilted there. Drinking 2 doesn't stack the effect. It just resets the timer. You get, I think, 120 seconds of healing. I forget how long it takes. But you get some amount of time of healing, and drinking that second one would just reset the timer. This is a big kill to get because this enemy's aim was decent. They weren't the greatest at chasing, but that almost went south again because of like a needless risk of just like using that airstrike for some reason. This guy knows he's here. This is bad because if they fight in this bathroom, that car that was just driving outside is going to be an easy time to third party them. And it's probably not going to be a clean fight if they fight in this bathroom. When he was running away from the person chasing him, when he went to the drop pod again, I think he maybe could have popped the slurp there. And if not, he could have shockwaves to the bush over here. Oh, shoot, I accidentally swapped. I hate when I do that. He could have like shocked to that bush and then drank it in the bush. But instead he kept just kind of like shockwaving out in the open. I think he was kind of panicking. And then because of that, he just didn't really get much off his movement. So he only has 2 shocks here. One more shock. You need to stop in the bush. Okay, he stops right here to slurp. But again, just what was that fight? Like, this player is like trying to lose, I feel like. He was like more eager about shockwaving away from the enemy than like playing the fight. And I think he could have like won that fight off getting first shot. It's a mythic pistol. Like getting first shot with this, it could hit so hard. And that could be the difference maker in the fight. He's weak, but he has his slurp ticking. He has no more mobility though. Okay, he gets the kill. That's the power of the slurp. And like, oh no, he's getting third partied. How much easier would that have been if he just shot his gun when they ran into him? Like, if you're going to be hiding in a building like that and someone's pushing into you, you want to play for right shoulder peek as much as you can and just hit a hard opening shot. There's going to be shockwaves in that A pod, guaranteed. And then there might be mobility on the person you just killed, but I'm not too sure. I like that. He opens it and then goes back for the loot rather than being greedy for it. Like, you can dodge the rocket and then go for the loot later. This is sketch, though. If that person up there decides to start shooting a gun and not the rocket launcher, he could take a lot of damage on this. Only has 2 shockwaves. Is the previous area in storm? Yeah, I would want to go back over here. We knew a lot of people died here, and there's probably hammers there. Okay, there's a hammer here, actually. That works. But if he didn't get that, I would want to be going back to where he had all those previous fights because we know there's loot there. So fight going on top of that mountain that I would want to be third partying. But he's just looting. I'm not really sure what he's looting for, though. Like, more shockwaves would be great, but he's not, like, super desperate for mobility at this point in time because he does have the hammer now. 5 opponents remain. Getting shot in the back. Like, he's just in, like, a terrible, like, no man's land area where, like, so many other spots of this zone are, like, more likely to focus him. That's why I would have wanted to push that fight out on that mountain because they just fought there. They're likely weak. You could third party it using the pad or your mobility. And then you kind of have like an edge spot in zone and you're not just like in the middle getting shot by everybody. And now he's going to end up doing that. Okay, never mind. No, he's not. I was going to say he's going to end up doing that and then doing it when this person is like probably healthier and ready to actually fight. But he's just going to pad into zone. Which could work out. But I just feel like being decisive about like taking spots in the end game and like getting players out of the game is a big deal. And we've seen a few times this game where like he could have maybe gotten people out of the game that just let slip. That default skin that was chasing him for a while might have been the player that was fighting in the bunker or around the bunker. And if he had third party that, he gets that a little cleaner, doesn't use all his shocks, his slurps. Like those little opportunities mean a lot. There's likely somebody to his right as well. There was like a bunker on the edge behind him. And I expect that to be the person that was spamming the missile launcher earlier. That bunker there. The person that was spamming the rocket launcher was on this hill over here, so I think they're probably still there. He's going to be ultimate low ground. Okay, this wraps up actually. I very much suspect there's somebody in those bunkers. He could wrap around this backside of the mountain and maybe shoot them in the back. And I like that more than just staying at the little hill he was, because of it's like the same thing with the train earlier. He would be like in between so many people and just be naturally the person who gets focused. You want to be on one of these edges. The person's there. He could shockwave them away. He's going to shoot at them, I think, but he shouldn't get this kill unless they're like kind of lost. Okay, it works. Nice. They were weak enough or like slow enough to react. But had he shot when they were like standing in the bottom part, they could have easily tucked into that corner and just wasted his time. Now he's going to third party this. He kind of has to because zone is going there. Enough time has passed though to where this person shouldn't be that weak. They maybe have had time to heal. He's going to play it a bit slow. It's also, there's another solo somewhere as well. There's a 1v1v1. And so as always, when you get to this stage in the game, the two people that fight, if that fight takes a while or it isn't clean, often just get third partied by the other. And cleaned up. So he needs this kill to happen like cleanly. He gets a scan. They shockwave away? This person might be like desperate for loot. That's my guess based on this, is that they have no heals. And now they're going to fight over there. He can hold this. You look at the zone, it's on him. All he has to do is sit here and shoot. I would want to shoot the person who has pressure in the fight there. Like, you don't want to get too tunnel vision on that guy because this person is probably a more relevant threat. That other guy's like on the edge running. So just grief this person if you can. That's good. Now the other player might rotate into him, but you don't want to over peek here and take too much damage. Because if he takes too much damage or he's too focused in this fight, that other guy can maybe wrap around. You want to do as much as you can while expending as little attention as possible and as little like health. You need to be ready for people to hop on you like this. He needs to look at the other guy. Okay, he takes a little bit of damage, it's unfortunate, but you need to look at this guy and not let him just get on you for free. The guy's beaming him though. I think they maybe have the exotic fury. He'd fizz, shock, and then fizz more. You don't full heal here, I don't think. Maybe he can. He's kind of playing edge, hoping they fight. But if that other guy was like full chasing, what you would want to do is fizz a little bit and then shockwave so you can get like a good distance and then start using your fizz again while you're in the air. This is bad for him. He's getting griefed. This guy is gonna like get... Okay. He gets away maybe, but the person that's just jumping on him like that is like, that's a bad peek. I don't know where the other guy is. Maybe he does. I think they're both up there. I'm confused. I was worried the person that was just running at him, fighting him on edge like that was going to get like shot in the back by the other guy. And that's why I was saying he's getting griefed. I really don't know where the other one is though. I think they're both over there. He gets a scan. So at the very least, he knows there's not anybody on him. And I was right. The other person was over there. And he has zone here. He needs to just look back. Find the person. Grief when you can. I think his gun might need to be reloaded. Yeah, he's running down the mountain. He was just running down the mountain here. Zone's pushing this player into him. All he has to do is hit shots. The amount of heals you can make this person waste is good. Any mobility they waste is good. The game is just progressively getting into a worse and worse spot for them. And so it should be unlosable for the person we're spectating. Alright, GG's. I'm pretty sure that superhero skin was not the one running at him and it was another skin. So that superhero skin needed to third party that sooner and then be able to like put pressure on this guy. But because that took so long for that third party to happen, this guy was able to slip out, heal, reset. And luckily he got zone as well. But that is going to be it for this video. Guys, 200 crowns. Good player, but like I feel like a lot of that was just played as as needlessly reckless as possible. Like there's obviously reckless aggression. Like the more aggressive you play, the more risky it is. But also there's just like needless mistakes that kept happening. But that was a good game. As always, if you guys enjoyed this, remember to give it a like, subscribe to like some more, comment down below what you think of the Megazord update, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.